Hi guys, Dr. Justin Salvi here, going through semester test 1. I didn't quite finish question 10 in the last video. There's a little part C to it, so I'm going to go through that now. This is question 10C. And we want to show that P implies Q implies P and Q is logically equivalent to P by using a truth table. Okay, so we need to set up a truth table here. We've got a P. We've got a Q. There are two variables, so we're going to end up with 2 to the power of 2 is 4 rows. And we want columns for this guy over here, but we also need columns for all the pieces in between. So we're going to have a column for P implies Q. We're going to have a column for P and Q. And of course we're going to have a column for the whole thing. P implies Q implies P and Q over there. So let's draw in some lines. And we need 4 rows. Now it is very useful just to note in future that it's always best to fill in your truth table in standard form. That's to write as many T's as possible in the first column, then alternate T's in the second, and finally in the third, which really alternates TF, TF, TF. That just makes marking so much easier and puts everything in your favor. In terms of the marker, they're going to look for an extra half mark if they can. So rather make it as easy as possible. So as many T's, TT, FF. So if you've got 8 rows, it's going to be TT, TT, FF in the first row, and then start alternating only in the after that. Okay, so this is the standard position for 4 rows. Right. So now we want to evaluate P implies Q. So we've got P implies Q, T implies T. Yes, well that returns a T. T implies false. That's the only one that returns a false. The rest all return true. And now we need to fill out the column for P and Q. Well, that's both of them have to be true. If one of them is false, we get a false. Yeah, P is false, so we get a false. Here they're both false, so we definitely get a false. And that's our column for P and Q. And now we've got our column for this guy here implies this one over here. So T implies T. That gives us a T. False implies false. We'll remember when we've got a false to start with, it's always true. T implies F. Well, no, that's the only time that it's false. And here we've got again T implies F. So that once again is false. Right, so now we've got a truth table over here. And you got, if that's where you stopped, you got sort of a half a mark for everything. You got 1.5 marks. The important thing here was to explain or show with a little bit of wording afterwards, or highlighting or some sort of thing, that this one here is logically equivalent to P. So basically we want to show that this row, this column is absolutely identical to the column for P, which is this column over here. And that's exactly the case. So it would be nice, and you certainly got a half a mark for showing something like that, or if you wrote the truth values for P and this long complicated thing here, that they are the same, and therefore these two guys are logically equivalent. And there's your final half a mark. And that now is the end of question 10.